As a leader, you or your top creatives could be ADHD. My 3D productivity hack is great because if you aren't, it will actually work even better for you than if you are. It's just that it's very interesting that a high percentage of creatives, especially extreme creatives, are ADHD. That seems to be the superpower you gain for the distractibility or attention span you lose. We won't get into that today because that's not the topic of this episode. The topic of this episode is the 3D productivity hack, which you see in the title here. And it is simple. It's basically as simple as the title itself. So if you find any of these ideas, this hack, any information useful, please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks. So it's as simple as the title. How to, that's for the algorithm. Delegate. If you could delegate, always delegate first. I'll get back into this in a moment, but ultimately, your time is more valuable spent elsewhere unless the person you delegate it to costs more than your own time. And if you're the leader, the owner of your company, that's unlikely. So it's probably better to hire out and delegate. Anything that can be done by anybody else should be done by someone else. Always, assuming they can do it at the same level or better than yourself. Even if they only do it at an equal level, just like them, you can only do one thing at a time effectively. So again, delegation is the better, even if they do it equally well to you. If you do it better, you're taking away time for something else. Is that really the best use of your time? Case by case, but normally delegate is the best default. The second default is do, and it's do for what should be an obvious reason. And that is because it's going to get done, but only if you are unable financially or for other reasons to delegate, then you do. And the third one is to document. All three of these Ds, delegate, do, or document, should be done immediately upon this breaking into your brain. That's the whole purpose and why it's so useful if you do have ADHD or just are really busy, have any distractible nature about you whatsoever, capture it so you don't have to worry about it. Get that mind share back so you can put your attention on other things. Now, I recognize that especially the do immediately aspect is a lot like David Allen's GTD or getting things done. And honestly, I can no longer remember whether what I do, whether I was doing my own 3D method before I listened to his book or not. I think so, but for both things, it's been a long time, so I can't honestly recall. What I can tell you, though, is that I've adapted this adapted and basically evolved this to fit around and with my ADHD, my lifestyle, and to integrate modern technology, because over the years I've went from book to phone for doing the document side of the process, right? So I'm going to repeat this again because it's that important. Delegating immediately is always the best option unless there's some reason, some compelling reason that nobody else can do it. You can't afford to have somebody else do it, which is a compelling reason, I guess, or nobody else can do it better and therefore you must be the one to do it. Under any other conditions, delegate, delegate, delegate. Again, if only you can do it, that's fine. Do it immediately, but only if you have the ability to do one of two things, that is complete it or take a big enough chunk out of it, make some tangible progress, because that's really important in terms of motivation. Even busy people who are highly motivated feel a lot better when they feel like they've accomplished something. If you start it and you feel like you ended before you got it started and like it was almost a waste of time because you couldn't spend enough time on it to make any progress, maybe it's better to document it. So like I said, either do to completion, if that's possible, or do enough to feel like you've made some progress will really help you keep your momentum when you return to that. And feeling like, well, that was worthwhile for me to stop. Remember, anytime you do one thing, you are not doing another thing. And that's when it really comes into, which is just remember that whatever you say yes to, whether it's doing it or delegating it or anything else, what you're saying yes to means you're saying no to everything else. And that's why delegation is oftentimes, almost without exception, your best bet. So it's especially true if you know your top priorities. Those should be clear pretty much all the time. And I will put a card here and a link in the description to a comparative prioritization scale. Let's see, prioritize tasks by comparative matching. Yeah, that's what I said. And I called it the scale or the strawberry scale. Watch the video to learn why. As I said, it will be right there and in the description, so you can watch that, check that out. And obviously, if you can't delegate and you can't do, then your only option left and the option you want to go to, and of course, this is pretty much an instant judgment in most cases. This doesn't take as much time as this video. Document it only if delegate you can't do, or delegate it first and do it, right? So delegate first, do second, document third, and only if you can't do the other two. So for when I do my documentation, I either use Google Keep. It's simple. I open it, I can dictate a note into a checklist and it's done. Or I use Google Sheets. Google Sheets is better for me with respect to the organizational component and having one sheet to capture all of those that I can then move around on that sheet. Google Keep is more convenient and fast, right? So you just press the icon on your phone, you do your thing. Now, whenever possible, I always use the voiced text function, but that's not always possible. Sometimes I'm walking near a train or just in a noisy area and it's not possible, in which case I type it. So as you might guess, in most of these cases, I'm doing this in my phone. Unless I'm in front of my computer, all of this is done on my phone because it's always with me. It's stored in the cloud. I will not lose it. And that's a key component of this system. It should be simple. It should be fast. If you're doing the document side of it, it should be captured quickly so then you can return to what you're doing without distraction. Turn your distraction into a minor distraction, finish it off so you can eliminate the distraction and get back on. Because if you leave it bouncing around in your mind, it's taking mind share and attention away from the activity you should be doing, because minds do one single thing well and two or more poorly. Okay, so, and then you just return immediately to whatever task you're doing, right? Now that that's out of your brain. Just make sure when you do this that you put enough detail in that message in the documentation that if you don't look at it for another 6 months, you know what you meant, what you intended. If you have to err on the side of too much detail, now 1 to 2 sentences is usually more than enough, but I've done this especially with some of these episodes where it's like I put a few details and say, oh, I'll know what that means, like 3 or 4 things which 2 months later is, or even a month later, is really cryptic. It's like, what did I mean? And now I've sort of lost it. So make sure you put enough that if you've never, as though you've never seen it before, an outside person could probably figure it out, but certainly for yourself, you must be able to figure it out. So just like most good ideas, this is simple, it's obvious, and anyone can choose to do it. So that's it for Crush It Club 125, how to delegate, do, or document. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.